finds you well, and whether you're in your office in Wellington and Christchurch, or whether you're at working from home up in Auckland or Sydney, or in fact in your car if your reception isn't great. Before we kick in, I have asked Dave Rosenberg to say a few words to us. So Dave, as I'm sure you all know, is our Managing Director here at Westcon-Comstor New Zealand. Dave's 110% behind the need for us to help our partners maximise their profitability and partnership with AWS in the public sector. Over to you, Dave.
Morning, everybody, and there's a hint of jealousy for those who are south of the Waikato who are living out of lockdown. Certainly I'm not beaming in from my picnic, which I'm now allowed to do. So look, really to introduce this session, I'm pretty excited about the public sector and the Amazon AWS public sector part of the business. Westcon in New Zealand is the only public sector and commercial sector distributor currently today. And as with being first, we were the first to market in New Zealand around AWS as a distributor as well. We have a team which is dedicated and focused to AWS and focused to a channel strategy. So again, one of the unique parts we bring to the partnership is that, you know, we are only channel focused. So we're here to support our partners in AWS. And expertise. So we have been doing this for a long period of time, and headed with Simon and also Jason from an APAC perspective, Jason Hull. We certainly do offer expertise, billing, unique areas, and we're very open to talk to the partners about how we can help you with this new opportunity in New Zealand. And, you know, our goal is to make everyone more profitable. And you know, we're not allowed to use, if we're playing word bingo today, we can't use pandemic and we can't use changing times, but certainly it has seen an acceleration of people hosting in the cloud. And so I think it's very, very timely. So with that, I'll hand back to Simon.
So the agenda for today, first of all, we have housekeeping, and that'll be just so we get the most out of the session. Then we'll have the country manager of AWS New Zealand, Tim Dakenberg, talking. And given the recent press, that's something I'm certainly looking forward to hearing about. After Tim, we're going to talk about the value of the AWS public sector. That'll be why Westcon distribution. I'll take you through the public sector program itself and also some of the financial incentives around that program. Then we'll move into seller engagement with AWS and ACE. That will be with David. And finally, but certainly not least, we'll talk about AWS training and certification offerings, how they can drive partner business growth, recruiting, retainment of talent, etc. So that's with Peter. Anyway, without further ado, I think we'll click on to the next slide there. Housekeeping. So with housekeeping, ask questions. It's really important to be interactive. These sorts of sessions, when they are online, are not the same as being in person, but when you get some good discussion, they can make these events feel more valuable. So the way we ask questions during this presentation is if you can ask them through the chat, and I will be monitoring it throughout the presentation, and we'll be making sure we've got time to answer those. It's an important part of that sort of interaction when you're doing these virtual events. Remember, there's some new launches and enhancements that have only just happened. So this is a really good chance to go through these and maximise that opportunity of having people around who are familiar with those programs. We also have a planned break, roughly aiming for about 10:30. We don't want to lose you, but it's really important when you've blocked out a morning to actually have a refreshment time. So speaking of that and timing, the goal here is to finish early. We would like to allow you some extra time in your diary to catch up on emails and do all the things that we need to do. So that will be our goal, but we have allowed time for questions, so still ask those questions. And finally, we will be following up the session. So you will get an information pack with all of the information contained in these slides today. So hopefully that's going to be sort of like the main stuff that helps give you the framework for moving forward. Cool. So Tim, move on now. So Tim is Tim, I'm pretty sure most of you will know him as he's been an absolute key IT contributor in New Zealand over the past 30 years. Certainly his name always comes up whenever you talk about the history of Compaq and VMware. And since 2013, he's been with AWS. Very proud Wellingtonian, which means he firmly believes that you can't beat Wellington on a good day. And we won't talk about the weather today. Undeniably, Tim has shown his passion for success, both in the New Zealand tech community, but also in the solutions he's been part of. With that, Tim, welcome, and I'll hand over to you.
Hey, thanks, Simone. And kia ora, good morning, everybody. Very, very excited to be here today. As per my bio, I've been with AWS since 2013. What's not really well known is that my first meeting with a partner when I joined in 2013 was with Westcon. Probably an overshare here, and apologies if the mental picture that you get is distressing, but I'd been at AWS for 2 weeks, and I had a holiday planned, as often happens when you're changing jobs. And my holiday was in Fiji, and I was at a resort in Fiji, and I was walking out of the swimming pool in Fiji, and I saw an ex-Westcon employee, Daryl Grauman, who was at Westcon at the time, sitting by the side of the pool, tapping into a computer, into his laptop. And I said, "Hey, Daryl, what's going on?" He said, "Oh, I'm trying to get my AWS contract signed for distribution." And so that was the very first partner meeting that I had as an AWS employee. And I guess speaks to the genesis of the relationship between AWS and Westcon, not just here in New Zealand, but globally. And I think when I cast my mind back over the last 8 years, Westcon has been the exemplar from a distribution point of view for the way that they have enabled the partner community in New Zealand and latterly more internationally to become enabled on the AWS platform and to be able to, I guess, develop their business for the cloud world, which, as I'm sure you can all appreciate, is going to become a very, very different landscape for our partner community, but also for our customers here in New Zealand. So a little bit of background there. As mentioned, I've been with AWS for 8 years. I started as the first employee in New Zealand, and back in the old days in 2013, we looked after both commercial and public sector. More recently, the business has split into a commercial sales organization and a public sector organization. For 6.5 years, I ran the commercial business before taking over the Wellington-based public sector business at the start of 2020. And so when I took over the business, we had 5 staff. Whilst we don't publicly talk about staff numbers specifically for our business units, we have very much more than 5 staff in public sector now, and we've got a pretty effective engagement model that I'll talk a little bit more about in a few minutes. I guess the big news from AWS over the last couple of weeks has been the announcement of the Asia Pacific Auckland region. So we are building a region in New Zealand. It's an investment of $7.5 billion. We expect this investment to have a $10.8 billion impact on GDP in New Zealand, and the establishment of the region is expected to create 1,000 jobs. And the region is, we have announced, will open in 2024. So I wanted just to spend a minute talking about what a region is, because many of you will be familiar with the Sydney region, which is the geographically closest region to New Zealand, but may not be familiar with the construct. So a region is defined as a collection of capacity or infrastructure in a location. And every region that we have around the world, and there are currently 25 regions around the world, every region has a minimum of 3 availability zones. And availability zones defined as a collection or a cluster of data centers. Now, these availability zones made up of a collection or a cluster of data centers are geographically isolated from each other. So they're able to withstand individual catastrophic events. They are on different floodplains, they are on different power grids, and they are on different networks, internet connectivity networks. So, and yet they are close enough to each other that we have very, very low latency between them. And so effectively from a customer point of view, they appear as one facility, but customers can deploy their applications across multiple availability zones to ensure very, very high availability of those applications and just improve the resilience of their infrastructure in totality. So really important that you understand the construct of a region, because other cloud providers think about availability zones and regions very differently. And some of our competitors will build one data center and call that a region. It's really important to understand that, that a region from an AWS point of view is very, very different to that. It's a very, very significant investment. And just to put it into context, so I mentioned there's 25 AWS regions around the world. We have a number of countries with multiple regions. So just to put it into context of New Zealand, there are only 18 countries around the world that have an AWS region right now. And so we're pretty privileged to be given this investment, which, as you can tell by the numbers, is very, very significant. So the launch date is 2024, and we've had a number of comments from our partner community to say it's a long time to wait for a region. What are we doing between now and then? Now you'll see coming out from my team, from the commercial team, and from Westcon, a series of ongoing campaigns and programs to ensure that our customers and our partners can continue to benefit from the AWS cloud for the next period of time through to launch, but also be well prepared and ready for the launch when it arrives in 2024. So I can't share those details with you now around the programs and the work that's going on behind the scenes, but that will be coming out in the coming weeks and months to ensure that our partner community is well ready for what's in front of us. So just changing tack a little bit, and just wanted to talk about our engagement with public sector. So I mentioned that I joined the public sector team at the start of last year, and since then we've been working really, really hard across a number of different fronts. So the first thing is we've expanded our coverage. We've grown our team quite significantly, predominantly out of Wellington, but we have recently deployed what we call a minimum deployable unit of AWS folk in Auckland, and a minimum deployable unit is an account executive and a solution architect. So we do now have coverage directly on the ground in Auckland. Not quite as effective as we would like through lockdown, but already our team up there, Nicole Lowe and Martin Pratt, are having a big impact and getting a lot of traction with public sector organisations in Auckland. So we are we're also segmenting our business. So one of the things with public sector that's a little bit different to commercial, I've found, is that there's a real collegiality globally, and governments around the world that go away and run projects and create really, really cool things that impact positively their citizens. They're really willing to share that IP. Not so likely in the commercial sector, where it's kind of unlikely that a bank would come up with a really good idea and then share it with all of the other banks. But in public sector, it's a little bit different. And so what we've done in New Zealand is we've segmented our engagement with public sector. And at the start of 2022, you'll see from us, or a little bit beforehand, because we'll share our customer lists, you'll see that we've segmented across 13 different segments. So think health, think justice and emergency services, think social services, local government, utilities, weather and research, and there's a few others as well. But with the segmentation we bring specialization, and it means that our teams can go and have really deep and thoughtful conversations with our customers that actually help them solve really big problems based on the learnings that we've had internationally. And we've also brought in some new resources this year into the New Zealand team that will help us more broadly with that internationalization, if you like, of our business. We have a team based out of the UK called the Government Transformation Team, and their job is to aggregate all of the things that we're doing for public sector agencies around the world and share. And so earlier this year, we brought in our first GTT employee, a chap by the name of Peter Herlihy, who's based down here in Wellington. And his role is to search the world for solutions that fit into each of our 13 segments and allow us to engage more effectively, I guess, with public sector agencies and help them serve their citizens more effectively. The next thing, or the last thing I'll touch on in terms of our broader public sector engagement is that about a month ago, we announced the release of the NZISM Conformance Pack. And hopefully you've all seen the press on that because that is a really, really significant announcement if you engage with public sector. So the NZISM Conformance Pack allows public sector organisations, or any organisations for that matter, to deploy the Conformance Pack, and it will provide continuous monitoring and assessment of a customer's environment against 150 controls listed in the NZISM document as critical to maintain a secure environment. So the NZISM Conformance Pack is available from AWS as a download so that your customers can install it and be assured that they have continuous security conformance against those 150 controls. So I encourage you, if you haven't already looked at the Conformance Pack and you are active working with AWS customers both across commercial and public sector, the NZISM Conformance Pack is a critical tool to help your customers improve their security posture. So lastly, I just wanted to touch on what it is we are talking to our customers about. So what is the New Zealand public sector AWS team using as they go to market? And we're basically focusing on 4 key areas with our go to market for public sector. So the first is what we're calling emergency response, or emergency response and resilience, or it's really largely COVID response. So how do we help public sector organizations through a time of either lockdown or juggling lockdown, a lot of working from home going on? What are the things that we can help agencies with to ensure that they can continue their operations and continue supporting their citizens? So we've got a number of things that we are helping with. Some great examples that we use. We had one customer at the start of lockdown last year. The weekend before the Wednesday lockdown back in March last year, they were already a AWS Workspaces customer. They had about 1,200 virtual desktops running in Workspaces. The weekend before, we stood up another 2,800 desktops for them. They were able to send all of their 4,000 staff home at lockdown, and come Thursday morning, everyone was able to log in seamlessly. And you contrast that to some agencies that had to send physical hardware out into their employees' homes. Some of them were having to send out information that was highly sensitive into a non-secure environment. So just not a great response. Another example was the work we did with the Ministry of Health in terms of scaling their contact centre. So they were able to stand up the COVID contact tracing contact centre in just 3 days using Amazon Connect. At peak, that has scaled to over 1,700 contact centre operators and done seamlessly using the cloud-based Amazon Connect. So lots of tools in our armory for supporting our customers through COVID times. I'm trying to avoid the P word, Dave. I don't want to get called out on that. The second area is where we're helping customers accelerate their adoption, typically through migrations for efficiency and carbon neutrality. So as we know, sustainability is a major priority for the government. And so there's research being released by 451 Research showing that a workload that or a server or infrastructure running in an AWS data center versus running on-prem or in colo consumes 70% less energy. And so we can contribute really positively to our sustainability story by migrating customers' workloads into AWS. And so we're seeing a lot of success with organizations, large and small, that are migrating into AWS from either on-prem or co-located environments. And that's an area that we have a lot of engagement with customers on an ongoing basis. The third area is helping customers gain insights through data. And as you know, public sector has a lot of legacy platforms, a lot of data and a lot of disparate sources. And so we have the tools, again, to be able to create data lakes or aggregate disparate sources of data and provide analytics capabilities over the top of that to help public sector agencies make better decisions effectively, better decisions that are made on data. And so that, again, is another key go-to-market area for us. And we're having a lot of success engaging with public sector around helping them get insights through data. The last area that we're talking to agencies about in terms of our go-to-market is digital citizenship. So we kind of know with a high degree of certainty that cloud is going to be a transformation agent for public sector, and that public sector want to be able to engage digitally with citizens. So what does that mean from a digital citizenship point of view? One is building the appropriate trust and identity frameworks. And so if you think about our engagement across digital citizenship, that's a key area that we are focusing on, is how do we provide the digital identity and trust frameworks that support agencies engaging digitally with their customers, the citizens of New Zealand. So they're the 4 areas that we are focusing on. Again, having more people in the team has enabled us to go deeper and broader into the public sector. And we expect that broadening of our coverage will continue, especially as we get closer to the launch of the Asia Pacific Auckland region in Auckland. So Simone, a bit of a quick download there of things that are going on. Clearly there is a lot going on in our business right now. We're hugely appreciative of the support from Westcon and your partner community, which is of course our partner community. I might pause there and just see if there's any questions in the chat, anything anybody would like to know.
I have got a couple of questions here, but certainly everyone, if you wanted to send through some questions on the chat, I'm happy to ask those questions of Tim. So 2024, it sounds like it's a long way away. It's probably not when you talk about building the sort of data center centers that you need to build. Have you actually selected sites? Do we know where this is actually happening in Auckland?
Well, yes, we have selected sites, but unfortunately I'm not allowed to talk about either where or what or any
So you're through the process then, which is the main thing.
Yeah, look, we're definitely definitely on the flight plan, there is a global infrastructure project team that that have been engaged for some time, but globally we don't disclose the location of our facilities, and that is part of our security posture.
Understandably. No, that's great. So you've talked about 1,000 jobs. That's a lot of jobs.
Yeah, look, so we calculate the economic impact based on a globally recognized formula that was produced by Brainiac from Harvard. We plug into that formula data from Statistics New Zealand using the input-output method, and that provides us with the expected economic impact. And the economic impact has been calculated at $10.8 billion of GDP and 1,000 jobs. Now, those jobs are coming from all different industries. So they are construction, they are the data center supply chain, there's local providers, and there's AWS direct jobs. So the people that we will employ to run operations in our facilities, but also those that we add to our team to enable effective coverage of the New Zealand marketplace. What it doesn't speak to, and I'm not going to go into detail on this, I'll let you all draw your own conclusions. But what it does potentially lead to is a much deeper and broader ecosystem in New Zealand. So you think about the number of partners that have sprung up in recent times that we call born in the cloud partners. So these born in the cloud partners didn't exist, and now they do, and now they're focused on promoting AWS into their customers. We expect, it's my expectation, based on my experiences, that there will be a lot more jobs created outside of those that are listed in the economic impact study. And that the New Zealand IT community will embrace the AWS region, and that over time we'll see many jobs created. The other thing I'd say about the impact of a region, which we haven't talked a lot about through our press release. I guess you could clearly see that the things that we can comment publicly about are fairly restricted from our PR organisation. But the other thing that I would say is that this is a multi-generational investment. This is not an investment that's spanning the next 5 years. This is forever in New Zealand. And so you think about what could happen in terms of the IT community in New Zealand. And it was 4 years ago, I stood on stage at the Transformation Day in Auckland and talked about this innate culture in New Zealand of pioneering, innovation and invention. New Zealand, I mean, it's called number 8 wire mentality. It's called lots of different things. But you think about the fact that New Zealand has a fundamentally different way of thinking about problem solving. Yeah. And then you go, well, okay, if you take that innate culture and you add a world-class technology platform, then we're going to be able to do some incredible things. I mean, think what Xero did to the double entry accounting industry. Yeah. I'm personally just so excited about what this means, not just for the current generation of IT professionals, but for generations to come. I think that this could fundamentally change the fabric of society in New Zealand for the better.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's the innovation piece you're talking about there. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. That's
Simon. Oh, sorry. Finish off.
I was just saying that's the innovation. So are you seeing, Tim, the growth of some of the tool sets, you know, like when you talk about data lakes earlier, are you seeing more growth in tool sets around that, which really could totally sky's the limit from an innovation perspective? Is that what you're expecting from this?
So the utilization of the services, that AWS provide, will, I think, continue to accelerate.
Yeah.
The other thing that those of you that have been around AWS for a while will know is that we have an incredible pace of innovation. So last year we released 2,757 features, services, or updates. If you do the math on that, that's one every 3 hours. So our business at AWS is creating new things every 3 hours. Now, 90% of what we produce as our new services, features, or updates is as a direct result of customer feedback. And that's really, really powerful, because we don't have, well, we do have a bunch of really smart people in back rooms, but it's not them that are inventing or trying to interpret what customers want. We are taking direct feedback from customers as to how to improve their experience on our platform, and we are prioritizing a development pipeline based on that. So I'm really confident that not only the over 200 services that we have today, but the new services that we are constantly iterating on will provide just an incredible platform for New Zealand.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Tim, maybe if I can just add something, and sorry for interrupting just before, but I know you can't say much about your approach around the data centres and what you're doing in New Zealand, and obviously we can't because we're under dual NDA, but there's two things I think I can say which has been really pleasant to see. One you mentioned, which was around the fact of the multi-dimensional approach and how it's certainly focused on growth, and is not, it's almost like an elastic approach from what I've seen. And two, the support around the AWS offering in New Zealand has for the partner community. And that's not only from being able to sell it, but it's also supporting some of the local data centers. So those two things I think have been a great initiative, and also differentiates Amazon from some of the other players in the market like Microsoft, etc. So I'm pretty excited by that. I haven't crossed any boundaries there.
Oh, well, you crossed a boundary that I wouldn't go over, but that's fine. We tend to obsess over our customers, not worry too much about what our competitors are doing. Look, the one thing maybe if I could leave you with is partners are absolutely central to our growth in New Zealand. We are not going to scale our team to have the coverage nationally, and the direction from me to my team is that I want a partner embedded in every single one of our customers. There's no question about that. And if anybody on the call ever hears differently, I'd love to hear as soon as you possibly can, because we are absolutely committed to our partner channel, and we'll do whatever it takes to ensure that our partner channel can continue to deliver great outcomes for our customers.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tim. It's been fantastic having you join us today. Really enjoyed it, and I hope the partners have got a lot out of that. Certainly, if we have any other questions that come through later on, we'll escalate them to you. I think you've got some things you have to go off to now while we get into the exciting world of how the program works and all the wonderful incentives around that to drive some of that innovative behaviour.
Wonderful. Thanks, Simone. I really appreciate the opportunity. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks. Thanks, Tim. Right, everyone. We're now on to my bit, so you have to listen to my dulcet tones, unfortunately. Mel, are you able to flip us over to the next slide? So it's a very marketing slide that we've got here, and I guess there's some really good value in it. But what I want to talk about is why Westcon in relation to value. What value do we bring to the table? And value typically means different things to different people. So what I wanted to start with is what I saw as being the real value in the channel, and that's having been on board now for 2 years, and what I constantly get asked and what I constantly am addressing. So On that note, I'm going to start with something which sounds a little bit harsh, but I want to start there because it's the best thing to start with when you have people, and we certainly do have people on board today who are currently not just coming through us from a distribution perspective with AWS. We don't do harm. So the most important thing to take away from this is there is no impact to your existing arrangement. Your existing relationship does not change by having Westcon in the mix. In fact, it's probably improved because you've now got a wider set of contacts across the AWS family that we can connect you in with. So your buy price remains the same, your credits, your AWS MDF, they're all the same. We don't touch any of that. So I'm just going to call that out because it comes up constantly. But where we do help and we start adding into your business is certainly around administration. There's a lot of administration in cloud, and it doesn't matter whether it's AWS or any other cloud program that's out there. Cloud has administration. There's the onboarding and the billing, which changes depending on customer requirements. There's optimization tools, and they typically tend to cost a lot of money, and we provide those to our partners. The reporting that goes along with that, we have specialists that can help you design the right reports for your customers. And again, that's that unique requirement of what your customer individually wants. We also ensure you get your discounts and credits and do the reconciliation for you each month. So being a monthly billing and being that there are so many different programs and incentives and rebates that are out there and structured within cloud, it's really important that you have someone actually checking to make sure you're maximizing your potential. And that is something that we do for all of our partners. We also have marketing and lead generation. You know, it's fundamental to both AWS, yourselves, and us that there is leads coming through and that we are actually generating as much business as possible. We can help take you through what the lead generation programs that AWS runs and that you can access, and there's a wealth of information there, so we can detangle and find the right ones for you. We also run our own programs in-house, and it could be simple things. I know Tim talked before about Connect and how Connect during the start of COVID was a big thing. We had a program that you could tap into and actually get that up and running really, really quickly. We have programs running constantly to address the various themes that are out there in the marketplace. And at the moment with public sector, we're actually running a bit of a direct end user lead generation program, and we're looking for partners to allocate those leads to. So it's a really exciting time to be part of all of that marketing activity. We also have a partner portal which actually demystifies a lot of this stuff and actually has packaged tools around some of those offerings. It also has a really good section on the other vendor synergies. So we're talking about CPPO and when you start bringing in the marketplace conversation and the way we can actually start bundling and using marketplace to drive solutions which are not just AWS services, they're actually partnering in with other vendors out there. Anyway, that's how I see value. I certainly may have missed something. Remember, this is my perspective, and I truly do believe value is different for every business and every person. What I really ask of you from a value perspective is have Westcon in, have the discussion, make sure that we're understanding what's important to you in the cloud business. And at that point, then we can actually start matching you up, because there's so much information out there and there's so much value to be had. And it's just ensuring that you're actually supported on your journey. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about Westcon, the Westcon side of the relationship. I think it's time we got into the next slide, and we're going to go into why public sector, and for some reason that's not come up very pretty on the screen, but I will talk to you about what the point is here. So with why public sector, IDC is saying that from a New Zealand perspective, public cloud, Amazon are the leader. Now that is global, we know that, we've always been told, but we are seeing that in New Zealand as well. So from public cloud, leader is AWS. The thing that's important here is we've got the New Zealand government who, from what, 2015, I think it was 2016, they signed it, cloud first. We've got a situation where you have cloud. Cloud is an important part of public sector. We know the leader is AWS. You then have a situation where we've got an emphasis saying that we're only 43% of the way through our journey. So we know there's a lot of growth. We've got IDC saying that there's growth to be had. Actually, it's Gartner, sorry, there's growth to be had of 21% this year, and that continues. And I guess my question to you is, if you're here and is 23% of your IaaS revenue coming from AWS? Because if it's not, there is money still on the table. You know, what sort of growth rates are you looking at? What is your business revenue in cloud? Because we should be seeing these same sorts of stats reflecting across your business. And that's why we're here today, and why this public sector piece is important, because that is a significant portion of the revenue out there. So we have a mixed audience. Some of you are starting your journey with AWS, and some of you are proven channel members. And I just want to ensure we all understand the benefits associated with the Public Sector Partner Program. The first thing is the APN public sector logo. Anyone who's worked in government's familiar with GETS and RFP and RFIs and the weightings that they apply. And one of the things that they typically tend to do is look for people who are certified to be operating in a particular area. So in this particular case, being an authorised public sector partner is actually going to be very valuable at that point, because we need to make sure we're hitting all those value points during those RFPs. So there is that. We also know in this world of consumerism of business that before people even talk to you, they've usually done their research. So as part of that, making sure that you're on the sort of partner solution finder is really critical. Finally, next we have funding, and that's our marketing campaigns and making sure that you actually have access to everything you need to be able to promote your business and your solutions. There is not only what there is for AWS, but there is also more specific public sector partner programs that we can run out of Westcon. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words all over the show. We're going to take you through some of the incentives as well to make sure that you can see how we can make this profitable for you. And then last but not least, we have partnership. And I'm going to get AWS, whoever's still on the call, I know Tim's left, shut your ears. I have heard historically when I first started in this area of AWS and channel sometimes being an issue. But anyway, I'm going to assure you that that's actually matured. And I think Tim just spoke to it really nicely when he talked about how much the team has grown and what the goal is to have a channel partner embedded. It is totally different now. People like Cheryl, who was on the call, she's been quiet, but she's come on board in Wellington, and partnering with them makes many hands make light work, and getting in and actually being able to have that sort of relationship where you can do the sales cycle together actually really does work. So what's actually needed to be able to be a public sector member? So there is a form, as there always is, so we have to fill a form and make sure you've got all the details. But I think the big thing here is you just need 2 examples of you doing government business. Doesn't have to be AWS, it's any government business in the last 24 months. I'm pretty confident most people should be able to meet that one. The next is the APN Select here. Now, Select normally requires a certain number of certifications, technical and business. It also requires a number of launched opportunities and revenue, that type of thing. So this is the level above registered, which is the entry level for the program. We appreciate that not everyone may be at registered level or able to make registered level today, select level today. So on that basis, there is a program for public sector called Think Big for Small Business. Now, don't be put off by the name. It was named out of America. So remember, America thinks small businesses, what we consider to be medium to large here in New Zealand. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we can utilise that program to transition you in sooner and get you on board this journey. Right, so you got your credibility. These are the benefits of doing it. You get your badge straight away, so automatically you're answering those RFPs and RFIs that you are a certified public sector select tier APN, a certified partner. You also will get access to programs and funding under that program, and we'll cover off some of those in a sec. You'll get access to marketing development funds, MDF, and everyone loves that, along with AWS credits. There's also a technical capability discount while working on a competency. So if you're familiar with AWS from commercial land, you've got your steps through the program to profitability, and one of those steps is having competency in particular areas, and to get that you require to get some technical certifications. And what this program does is it actually allows you to get some of those as well as you go, so you get those in advance. So there is a way of tapping into all of that now up front. Up to 150 employees, that's what small businesses, according to them. So there's quite a few. Obviously there's ones that are larger in New Zealand, but certainly we've got a lot of partners who meet that requirement. 2 customer public references, which we know about. And then we also have the program requirements. So I'm going to show you actually a bit of a screen dump. It's not the prettiest slide, but it will take you through the program requirements in a little bit more detail. And that technical capability discount. So there is a bit of a requirement there around the billing, and I can talk to that as we go, but certainly that is another thing that we can look at. And this really comes into play also if you want to be able to access the competency, but you're currently select here and you're not quite at the advanced here, and that's where that's going to start kicking in. Yeah, not the prettiest slide. This was not done by marketing. Don't know if anyone can tell. This is more just one of those slides. So if we look at that the big table, you'll see there is up the top select here. You've got the blue column, and then you've got the white column for select, and then you've got the same for advanced. And if you go down, you'll see that the number of accredited professionals drops down, so that gets you into the program easier than what you would have historically been able to get into the program. And certifications drops from 4 down to 2, from foundational certified individuals down to 1 from 2, and likewise in the advanced side. Now, the reason why you might want to use the Think Big for Small Business in the advanced to get to the advanced here is because if you go down to the corner there, in the left-hand corner, we'll see that the benefits of consulting partners, you can see when you start getting up to advanced, you start tapping into more NDF and more funding around things, including the competency piece and getting that extra margin there, discount there. So I'm hoping that that makes some sense. And certainly if you have any questions, please do refer to the chat box, and I can answer those. So here we've just sort of talked about how you can use it. So we've got a bit of a Q&A here, just in case you guys haven't gone through these things. How long does it last for? It depends whether it's going from the select tier or to the advanced tier, but there is a period of time where we're trying to get you upskilled and ready to go so that you meet those program requirements after that period. And with the technical capability discount, it's a 12-month program to get you from there, which sort of comes in line with going from select to advanced on the general program. So this is the real fun stuff here. You'll notice I have a couple of stars around what's new. One of them's a little bit faded out. That's based on how new they are. So as of the 1st of October, we had 2 new programs start. We had the PGR, which is the Partner Growth Rebate, a completely new program. It's that wasn't in existence before, and if we can demonstrate some growth, in existing customers, we can get a 5% rebate. We also now have what's called the Partner Originated Discount, the POD. We used to have net new, which if anyone's tried getting net new, it was always really, really difficult. The pod makes it a hell of a lot easier, and it makes it a lot more approachable. In addition to that, under the public sector program, we have the newbie discount. And the newbie discount, this has been around since the program inception, but it's probably not something that you've heard many people talk about because it is specific to public sector. And that is an additional 5% that you can access through the public sector program. What we're going to do is we're going to drill into each of these one by one because I think that they're worth getting familiar with. Just before we do move in, base discount, that's your base, you get that for everything. There's your technical capabilities discounts up the front there. So that's the one we talked about before. We can use newbie to access that technical capabilities discount earlier. So the partner originated discount. This is all about winning new business. The cool thing with this one is with the old one, they had to not be in the system. They had to be had never transacted a certain amount. It was quite a lot that you had to do. Whereas this one here is really about you guys finding opportunities within the end user community and posting those through to AWS. So we utilize ACE, which we're going to do some discussion about later with David. We use ACE to record these. It needs to be launched, and the partner mustn't have done more than 5,000 the month before. It gives you this discount for up to 24 months, and it's a really easy, nice, simple program to be using. Probably the easiest one here. So here's the eligibility, and I find this is the easiest way of thinking about it. You need to submit the opportunity in ACE. So it has to be submitted in ACE, which is their deal registration, if you like, deal registration portal. Once it's submitted, it gets validated as partner originated. So you can't use something if one of their sales reps have gone and done it. If AWS has done the groundwork, it's not going to qualify. It has to be coming from you. But if it's true to you, it will be approved. Launched, it's the workload has to have started, and then the billing starts actually billing. Once those things have happened, it automatically goes through. Just on that validation process, there's actually a validation desk, and they do seriously look at what you've written. So you need to put in there things like how you influence the deal. They're looking at it, that's who's reviewing it, not the account manager out in the field. And I just want to call that out because these are things that have come up before as far as behaviours that we want to manage from a channel perspective. And there's a really nice little team that sits in the channel who reviews this. So make sure you put the right detail in there because they need that to make that determination. And they're not familiar with the end user account because they're not the sales rep. I think historically it used to go to the sales rep. So just letting you know, make sure you put enough detail in there. Right, let's move on to the PGR. So with the PGR, this is a growth one. So this is a new program we've never had before. And this is to show that you are constantly growing a partner, an end user year on year. And it does go through, and you have to match it within two periods a year apart. And if you can show some reasonable growth, then that starts actually making a difference. I'm actually going to go, can I get you to go to the next slide? Because I actually prefer the next slide. It makes the most sense to me. So here we've got 5 samples so that we can check whether something's eligible. So the first one there, you'll see they've grown 50% over the 12-month period. Their original start date was June 1st, 2019. Remember, they have to have been on board for a full 12 months to be qualified, 4 quarters actually. They have to have hit that 50%, 40. Ooh, I'm having a moment. David, you might need to step in and just help me. Is it 40%? I thought it was 40% in my head. I haven't got it written down.
45%.
45%. Thank you, David. So 45% to be able to qualify. So they've hit 50% growth during that period. So they're eligible. The one below it they've only grown 38%, so that would not meet that eligibility requirement. The one under that, that's met the eligibility of the percentage. It's an end user. They've been there long enough. Everything's looking great. The next one down, they are not a full 4 calendar quarters, which is the important thing there. So they are on track to get it, but not right now. And then we have the internal counts don't count. So that's pretty much sort of a good example of what qualifies. And this is why when you have a partner like Westcon, who does do the reconciliations each month when you get your billing, this is the sort of thing that they can track and monitor and pay attention to. So you don't leave money on the table, because it's very easy to miss these things, and we want to make sure we capture them. So the next is newbie. Now this is a public sector only program. It does stack, so you can use it along with the pod and the technical competency, your base commissions. It does stack with those, and it actually starts adding all up. It doesn't stack with enterprise discount programs, so that's for the very, very large customers that run those programs, and private pricing agreements, obviously, that we can't use it with that. But it is a new customer or a new workload. Now, the reason I get excited about this one is it's new workload. So when Tim was talking, and he was talking about innovation and what New Zealand can do, this is a really good example. If you can come up with a new use case for something and a way of meeting a customer requirement, new business challenge, and you can actually qualify for this. So it could be an existing customer that's done loads with AWS, they're well engaged, but this is a new workload with a new use case. And I think that's pretty exciting, and that's really driving that innovation piece. And 5% is a nice little discount to be getting. So it runs for 2-year period, and it's pretty hot. Yeah, so from an eligibility, you've got to be obviously a provider. You need to be public sector. You need to maintain an active registration in that program throughout the 24 months, and you need to accept the ACE program. So the ACE program, deal registration, has its own T's and C's, which you must have already accepted. So you have to be participating in both public sector program and the ACE program. That's the main requirements there. We get you to submit it again in ACE. So ACE is coming up again, and you'll find that this is a reoccurring theme, which is why I've got David talking more to ACE in a minute. The ACE is a critical part of that, and you need to make sure that you put in the field there that it is a newbie campaign. The validation team again goes through that validation criteria. So again, more information you put into the ACE, the better. The partner is notified of that, comes via us, and we submit that, and it keeps going, and you get that payment. So it's a pretty cool program, and one that I'm very excited for because of that innovation piece, and I think it's a good way of doing it. Seller engagement, and here we are with ACE. So David Rosser, our AWS Partner Development Manager, I'm going to pass over to you.
Well, thank you very much. It's a bit scary looking at a picture of yourself on the screen, but anyway.
I think if you go to the next slide, you can kick into your slides, David, so you don't have to
You don't like it either. Okay. Okay, if you could move on to the next slide, then okay, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. So thanks, Simon. Really appreciate that. My name is David Rosser. Great to be with you all today. It's certainly been a busy time for partners and distributors, given all the recent AWS program announcements. Simon has just taken you through the partner originated discount, the partner growth rebate, and newbie. And I wanted to take the next 10 minutes or so to highlight 2 program enhancements that sit alongside our new incentive announcements. Enhancements that are designed to empower your teams as they manage the processes that were actually previously limited to your named APN Alliance lead. But before I do that, I think it's worth providing a reminder of the program that will be central to you driving your AWS business and capitalizing on the new AWS incentives. So look, I'd like to cover 4 things. First, I want to provide a reminder of ACE, what it is, the requirements to access it and benefits it provides. Second, we'll take a look at the new APN permissions and the roles we've introduced to empower your teams. Third, we'll look at ACE Partner Connections and how it provides distributor and distributor seller partners the ability to collaborate on customer opportunities and things like funding requests. And finally, we'll take a look at a few key resources available to you via the APN and also highlighted by Westcon. So if we could move to the next slide, please, Mel. So many partners across New Zealand are already very familiar with the APN Customer Engagements Program, otherwise known as ACE. And they're using it today to engage with AWS sales teams to help evangelize their customer successes, receive technical support and resources, and ultimately accelerate through the AWS partner journey. And of course, progress from registered tier. Now, not only does it increase alignment, collaboration and support for APN partners, but it's how eligible partners can receive AWS generated leads and opportunities. And for resale partners working with an authorized distributor, it's the mechanism you'll need to unlock the partner originated discount. Plus, it acts as the intersection for many other public sector specific programs that attract those more incremental discounts. So Simon has already mentioned newbie, and also kind of how you accelerate tier progression through things like Think Big for Small Business. So ACE is available to registered tier partners and up. All you've got to do is simply sign the ACE terms and conditions on Partner Central, and partners can start submitting opportunities on the ACE Pipeline Manager, again found in Partner Central. For select, advanced and premier tier partners, there's that added advantage of receiving leads and opportunity referrals. But please note, for select tier partners, this is dependent on them meeting certain criteria, and you can see that highlighted on the slide there. So let's take a closer look at the program enhancements, and firstly, the launch of 2 new permissions features in AWS Partner Central. These actual roles are called the Alliance Team role and the ACE Manager role. So you might be allocating these to your operations team or your sales leaders, your marketing leaders within the business. These roles provide partners the ability to grant multiple team members access to the data and features they need to help manage your AWS partner network. So let's look at the Alliance Team. So the Alliance Team user will have almost all the same capabilities as the Alliance lead, including viewing the partner scorecard, submitting program applications, and accessing the full ACE pipeline. Now, this role is ideal for users who share administrative responsibility with the Alliance lead. So you're kind of lightening the load there for people, which is great, and spreading the load, if you like. The ACE Manager roles, they give users the ability to view and edit all opportunities and leads in the ACE Pipeline Manager. Additionally, ACE Managers, along with Alliance Team users, will receive automated email notifications when AWS shares an opportunity or lead, or when a partner submitted opportunity requires more information. So when you consider the benefits for you, with the new permission features, multiple users from a partner organization can access the data and features they need in AWS Partner Central without relying on the Alliance lead. With this capability, partners can distribute workloads that were previously limited to the Alliance lead more broadly, and empower distributed teams to manage processes independently. So look, that's a bit of a game changer, and I think we put obviously a lot of thought into really how you can I guess utilize and take advantage, but also bearing in mind we're not just loading it onto one person, we're spreading the load of that, which I think makes an awful lot of sense. And the final program enhancement I wanted to share with you today is Partner Connections. Partner Connections is a new enhancement found in the ACE Pipeline Manager and is currently only visible to the distributor and distributor seller partner relationships. Partner Connections creates a streamlined opportunity management experience for scenarios where AWS partners are working through an authorized AWS distributor like Westcon. It provides partners with the ability to collaborate on customer opportunities and things like fund requests, and also gives them the ability to look up distribution seller or distributor relationships. Partners or distributors have the choice to add at time of submission, as well as the ability to add at later points. And partners without a distribution relationship, they actually won't see the shared connections tab within the race pipeline manager view. So look, again, another exciting enhancement there. It's something, you know, we've listened to feedback from the channel. I think when you consider the discounts and the ability to share and work with your partners, that is really going to be a big game changer and really ensure that you can really drive those opportunities and really drive that profitability as well. Okay, well, finally, I just really wanted to highlight that all the announcements both Simon and I have taken you through today, they're all covered with supporting how to and explainer videos, step-by-step setup guides and blogs. And of course, you can reach out to the Westcon team who'll be happy to help. We've actually put a lot of good thought, I think, into the content that we've got out there. It's all available now. You may have seen some of that. You may have attended some partner casts. But like I say, there certainly what Simon will be doing is arranging a follow-up pack of that relevant information that will be shared out with you and the attendees today. And don't forget, you know, you can obviously use that to really help then set up your alliance team, your ACE manager and ACE user roles, and really kind of learn how to connect an opportunity with Westcon. That little 2-minute video is very straightforward, and it makes it very simple for you to kind of understand how to do that. And like I said, Simon will be arranging that those follow-up packs will be sent out to you post-webinar. Okay, well, look, that's it from me. I know there's a lot I covered there, but be safe in the knowledge that a lot of that detail is available. It's at your fingertips and available through Westcon. So what I'd like to do now, thanks again for your time. I'll hand back to Simon. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. That was really good. Look, ACE is becoming more and more important, and certainly from our perspective, we encourage its use because it obviously gets you through the tier stages, and there's a lot of programs and incentives that are wrapped up with that. Likewise, it's really good to see now that we can actually have some visibility by being a partner on there from a distribution perspective, because that means we can actually be monitoring your opportunities to enable us to reconcile your monthly billings and make sure you're actually not missing out on anything you should be getting. And we have the wonderful Peter. So Peter is going to take us through the training and certification. He is going to talk about how we can get everyone on that journey and the best way of doing that for partners. So Peter, I'll hand straight over to you. And I think that you may have your own slide set that Mel may need to let start up.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the partner audience today in New Zealand. And just by way of background, I have been with AWS for just on 5 months now, but I've been in the IT industry for almost 30 years. I had 29 years at Accenture, and it was at Accenture after more than 15 years in service delivery and operations that I was given an opportunity to come into more of a sales related role where I became a partner manager. And that just opened up a whole world of what I hadn't seen before, because I'd always been on the solution delivery end where I would buy product or services and deliver them. And once I got introduced and to a large extent, I was hooked on the whole concept of partners and resell. And so it's just fascinated me for the past 10 years. I've been involved in, partner enablement, training and certification, and I'm very passionate about it. So to have the opportunity today to talk to the partners in New Zealand in my new role here at AWS is very quite exciting for me. So today I just want to talk you through training for AWS partners, and it's really about how we empower your team so that you can better support your customers, and also highlight that with the collaboration with with Westcon, that we can just open up those, help support you as you begin to enable your business. The cloud skills gap, this one I think has really taken on a on a different sort of perspective because of COVID. We do recognize, and I think a lot of business leaders, a lot of people generally just recognize that there is a genuine shortage of skill shortages, specifically around cloud. And we and I think COVID has really just reinforced that, but also made us stop and think about how do we actually grow that talent. And it doesn't matter whether someone is or has been in IT and they're looking to pivot to cloud as a specialization, or someone that even hasn't been in IT, but they're looking to pivot their career significantly and and start and work in this space. So we just recognize that there has been and there is a cloud skills gap, and the whole premise around training and certification is looking to address that. Amazon as an organization, we are absolutely passionate about growing and building cloud skills. So we've actually set ourselves as a target to help 29 million people around the world build cloud skills with free training by 2025, and we're incredibly proud of that challenge. And we're looking forward to, whether it be through our various programs with different educational institutions, organizations, or through our partner community, but we generally we want to actually make sure that we've got people with the right skills, regardless of their background or where they work, or what industry they work in. We also know that customers are looking for educated and certified partners to help close that gap. And this is where the AWS training and certification offers, the resources that you need to develop your team so that essentially you can effectively address your customer business challenges, with AWS solutions. And that's where we spend a lot of time working with our partners to make sure that you've got the right plans, and in collaboration with with Westcon, just to make sure that you're getting the most out of the training and certifications that are available to you, so that we can generally look to close that gap. So AWS, what are some of the benefits? So, and we've polled our partners extensively, and what we've seen is that there's at least 55% have agreed that there's an improved quality of solutions and deliverables, and we know that that's important to our customers around making sure that there's quality in those solutions. 36% have agreed that we're seeing an increase in customers migrating to AWS solutions, and then we've also seen that there's a shortened implementation time, and that's important. And then when we look at from the perspective of our consulting and our technology partners, we're seeing that individuals are reporting it's helping them to broaden their skills. And that's important, because we know that in IT, nothing stands still for a short period of time, and people want to continue to grow their skills so that they can actually learn new things. So what is that partner journey? What's the support for it? Because it's not just enough that you register and you can sign into the APN portal. We want to make sure that you're actually fully supported, in collaboration with Westcon. We want to, it's important for us that you've got that high touch support as you progress along. So the way that we break it down is that we've got our partner training, and that's where we've got specific content to enable our partners to support the customer needs. We have various funding programs, and these are resources that help you increase your capacity to deliver AWS solutions. And with some of these programs, and as you saw from some of the slides that David had gone through, you know, depending on the tier that you're at, there are different eligibility requirements for some of the funding programs, but they are there to help support our partners. And then we look at the talent pipeline. So we've got education programs to fill those in-demand cloud roles. So training and certification, what are the offerings? So we have digital training. This is free on-demand courses to learn when and where it's convenient. We know that the past couple of years, particularly with COVID, has really shifted the way that we actually approach training. And we see the need and the demand and the importance of people needing that convenience. And that's where our digital training has really played an important role. That said, each time we do surveys, and particularly around what we call our learning needs analysis, there is still an overwhelming interest and need for classroom training. And at the moment, we're still doing instructor-led, albeit virtually, but it provides that interactive environment. People still, you know, our partners and you know, the participants we have on the courses, they still like that interactive element of being able to, you know, engage with an instructor who's got often has years of experience, or we're running an event where we'll bring in a subject matter expert. So for all the convenience of digital training, which is awesome, the overwhelming support and interest for classroom training still exists, and we're seeing huge demands for that. And just to give you an example, you know, our partner training calendar is pretty much full through to the end of the year. So there's still a lot of demand. And across those, whether it be digital or classroom, we, you know, and I'll go into this in a bit more depth, but we offer foundational intermediate courses, and these are designed specifically for our partners. We also have the accreditations, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, because this is where you can really start and showcase and demonstrate to your customers that you've established those foundational, you know, a strong foundational understanding of AWS. So you've got that cloud fluency, and you can really have more effective conversations with your customers. And then lastly, we've got the more publicly recognized AWS certifications, which you know, they really showcase and distinguish that deep level of expertise that our partners bring to the table when they're working with their customers. So with the training, think of it in two streams. So we've got our partner training, which focuses more on the accreditations. And again, that's a unique badge that we give to our partners. It's specific partner training. So it's about helping you to develop the skills as a partner. And we've got it, we've got both foundational, we've got intermediate and advanced level training. We also have our partner casts. Now these partner casts have proved hugely popular across our partner community. They're various topics, they go 30, 60 minutes in duration. And whether it be partner training, the partner casts, we provide these at no cost to our partners. And when we do that in collaboration with Westcon, we can actually do it as an event, and that's what I'm really excited about. And we've already got and I'll talk about a course that we've got coming up. But you know, we're not expecting, and we realise the value and importance of, you know, the collaboration amongst our partner community. We then have our technical training, and this is where you're starting to look at more of the associate or professional specialty level certs. This training can and is often delivered by AWS. It's also delivered through our training partners. And, you know, some of the training can attract discounts depending on the programs that we have available, and they are fee-based. And that's really the main difference between our partner training and the technical training, is that the partner training and the catalog of over 500 courses doesn't carry a fee associated with it. We do recognize, and I think it's an important thing to call out, when we say that there's no cost, that's the tuition cost. We do recognize that there's an indirect cost to the business when someone's taken off billable project work and they spend time on training. So we do recognize, but we're trying to minimize and take, for our partners, remove the tuition element of it, so that when you do invest in your technical training, that's where your investment is. So with our
it's David here.
Oh yes, David, please go ahead.
No, just while you're on this kind of topic, clearly Simon talked about think big for small business. You know, it gives that accelerated pathway to move up a tier, and clearly part of the some of the criteria for that is some of the certs that are required. So I'm assuming really for partners to be able to, you know, when they consider what they need to do to get access to these programs, availability of training is pretty easy, right? You know, if they need to get access to certain training to ensure that they are meeting criteria for a particular program, that shouldn't really be too much of a challenge or an issue for them to find that.
No, not at all, and it's a great call out. So even as a registered partner, you've got access to the to the APN training portal, and you'll be able to access those courses. Great, thank you, mate. And thanks for that. That's a great call out. So with our certifications, we have them across foundational, associate, professional, and specialty. For anyone that has been following the news, a new specialty cert specific to SAP workloads has been introduced. At the moment, I don't have an updated slide, but I just wanted to call out that new specialty. And really, the main thing here is that a lot of the partners that are starting on that cloud fluency journey, they will have their resources start at the foundational level where they aim for certified cloud practitioner, and then they'll, depending on their roles and what their business is focusing on and what they need, they'll have people progress through associate and then into professional and then into the specialty. There isn't a prerequisite as such. So if you've actually got someone that is well versed across AWS, its services and technologies, they might jump straight onto an associate or professional, but we do recognize that these are not easy certs to achieve. It does require years of years of experience and preparation. So for when we talk about people being on a certification pathway, really think about it as building. Each cert builds on the next. So your foundational really is knowing a little bit across all the different topic areas, and then associate will start and delve into specific areas in more detail, and same with professional. And then with specialty, you're really getting your deep subject matter expertise. With the actual certification prep, we do recognize, and again, this is an important role that we're going to where Westcon will really be able to support the partners, is that we recognize that our partners are on their certification journey is at different levels of maturity. We'll have some partners and their resources that will be very much at the beginning. They'll be reviewing exam guides, they'll be taking the relevant training in readiness for the exam. There may be some partners that have actually, very much further along in that maturity, but it's not a one size fits all. And the approach that we take and the support that we provide to the partners ensures that we recognize where you're at in that journey, and that we give you the support. It doesn't matter whether you're at the start or whether you're near towards, getting ready to sit an exam, but we just make sure that you get the support that you need. So with our training for partners, as I mentioned, there's three we've got them at different layers. So we've got foundational, and this is where we're really building on that cloud fluency and making sure that you're comfortable around all things AWS. Intermediate is just starting to actually focus on various specialty areas, and it includes both a blend of the free and the paid courses. And then advanced is really where you're starting to dive deeper into some of the course subject areas. So if we look at foundational, and this is not all the courses, but it is just a subset to give you an example of some of the focus areas. So if we look at some of the free training, you'll often hear accreditation business or accreditation technical. Those that have been around AWS for a little while might actually hear or been used to the term Biz Pro and Tech Pro. the actual latest, what we call them as accreditation business and accreditation technical and cloud economics. Those three, and then cloud practitioner essentials, they really set the foundation for your resources to approach the certified cloud practitioner. And we've actually got a slide that I'll mention how you can actually approach that. And then we've also got some other free digital training. So this is just an example of what foundational training looks like. It's both available digitally as well as in classroom. And those classrooms are can be approached from what we call our public partner course schedule, or as we've done, we've actually worked in conjunction with Westcon, and we'll be actually hosting a Cloud Practitioner Essentials course day, which I think will be a fantastic opportunity for the partners. Then we've got intermediate, and again, this is just a snapshot where you can see that we've got some free training, let's say, for example, machine learning on AWS, either with a business focus or a technical focus, migrating to AWS. And then you start to get into, this is where we start to look at some of the courses that are delivered by our authorized training partners. So for example, architecting on AWS is a 3-day course, or security engineering on AWS. And then we step into the advanced training. This is really where you're starting to look at, the classes that are delivered by our authorized training partners. Could be DevOps engineering, it could be advanced architecting. And, we also do complement that with some free digital training or events that actually help you to prepare for your, for your certifications. But what it's really doing at this level is validating your comprehensive and deep technical experience using the AWS cloud. Okay, what are some of the partner training resources? The first one, the course catalog. I'm a big advocate of this one. It's an awesome PDF, and I'll make sure I'll work with Simon to make sure that all the participants today have access to the URL. It's a 30-page PDF. The first 15 pages focuses on the free partner training that's available, and then the second half of the document calls out the training that's delivered via the authorized the authorized training partners. Sorry, not technology. The authorized training partners. So it's an awesome PDF to have. It's continually updated. I'll make sure that you've got the URL link so that you can download it, because it makes for a great reference document, as well as when you're talking about maybe what training you're looking at doing with Westcon, we can start and work out what training you're interested in. There is also a learning path tool on the APN training partner portal, where you can actually select the role and the area of focus, and it will actually start and build out some recommended learning pathways for you. And then we've got the partner course schedule. This is awesome because it shows you what classes are available, what language they're being delivered in. And, we also have a lot of partners that, for convenience, they might actually opt to participate in a class that's just offset from their normal business day, because it just provides some convenience. Now, partner casts. I mentioned this earlier, but this allows you to stay up to date with our free webinar series. It's exclusive for partners, 30 to 60 minutes in interactive sessions. And we can work with Westcon if there's a particular topic or area of interest. We could actually host. We could schedule one of these, and we've just had so much success. And just to give you an idea of how well the partner casts have been received, in 1 quarter alone, with a partner actually in Australia, we had over 1,200 students attend. So they've been really well received. And the fact that you can go onto the partner cast landing page, and you can have a look at one on demand that's already been delivered. You can look at what's coming up. You can register, but at the same time, if there was a genuine interest, and through Westcon, if Westcon can identify a particular topic, we can actually run one specifically for the partners in New Zealand. But they've just been really, really well received.
Peter, I'm sorry to butt in again. It's David.
Please do.
So Simon went through a number of key updates from an incentive point of view. Partner casts are there to cover that. certainly from some other announcements that have come out recently, the ones I went through around permissions and partner connections, you'll see PartnerCast will support a lot of that. So it's obviously technical, there's training, but there's also the other announcements as well that are covered. Thanks, Peter.
No, that's excellent. And just to that point too, one of the more recent ones that PartnerCast focused on was the announcement around an enhancement to how partners can manage their actual partner portal. Historically, there was always just what we called an alliance lead, and only the alliance lead could actually see the certification data. The alliance lead can now actually assign a delegate, which the partners have overwhelmingly said, thank you. We needed that functionality. So it's amazing how you just introduce a simple feature set that changes the way the partners can interact with the portal. And the reason why we did that was, and what the PartnerCast focused on was that some partners were resorting to a generic email, which from a security perspective, given that the certification data does relate to PII data, was not the best approach. We also knew that some partners might have been sharing credentials, again, from a security perspective, not terrific. So by adding an enhancement or a feature where you can actually have an alliance lead delegate, it made sense, because a lot of the times when a partner initially registers, the person that's actually doing the registration and puts the email in may not actually be in the role. So it's just a good example where the PartnerCast cover a lot of different topics and the partners get a lot of value from it.
Peter,
yes,
could you this is a selfish request, but could you share that with me, because that's a biggie. I want to make sure Westcon have got that detail to hand.
Yeah, and look, I think it's a really good example too of the incremental updates that AWS does all the time to make life easier. And it's knowing where to go and where to find them. And that's where, I guess, comes back to the ask from partners earlier. Talk to us about what's important to you, because there's so many things that we can help you with as far as finding these sorts of things. But we need to know what's important to you, because maybe that's not important to everyone, but it is certainly important to those that it's important to.
Excellent. No, great input.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of preparing diverse learners, we just want to call out that not only are we working with our partners, but we realize that the partners themselves, in addition to skilling up their own resources, they also need additional talent that they can tap into. And that's a hugely important, and we've seen what COVID, how that's changed the actual marketplace in terms of available talent. So I just want to call out that, you know, we are working with we have various education programs where we're working with higher education institutions, governments, and other organizations to prepare individuals for various cloud roles. And what that means is that the partners can have some confidence that as they're building their business, that they've actually got additional talent that they can tap into in the marketplace. So this one's really important for us. And just recently, we did run a program in New Zealand, the SheBuild, sorry, I'm just making sure I get the terminology right. And it really introduced for women in New Zealand an opportunity.
Woman,
yeah. Simone, was that something that you were across?
No, but I am familiar with it. I wasn't across that particular one, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's just great that we're actually recognizing that not only do we need to build our partners, but our partners need additional talent to tap into, and that's where these education programs play an important role.
Big shortages over here, Peter.
Yes. Okay, some of the funding programs that we have, discount, and these programs vary year on, year out, and we'll make sure that Westcon are very much aware of what's available in 2022, given that where we are in 2021. But we do have some programs that support discounted training through our authorized training partners. You could, for example, be eligible up to, say, 70%, and that's just, and it varies because the course that the authorized training partner can deliver will vary. The quote that they provide, because that is very much a commercial arrangement between the training partner and the partner, we do provide some discounts, and that, so depending on the course, the partner itself, so the discount could be upwards of 70%. And we also have then promotional credits. So at the moment, any partners that achieve net new certifications, if it's at the associate level, you will get a $300 platform credit. If it's at the professional or specialty level, it is a $500 credit that comes back. And for me, whether you've got one person that's achieved a net new certification that provides you with a $300 credit, and I had one partner who had just overlooked the email that had got missed in some resource changes, and I went and actually chased down and got that credit reissued for them because it was important. It might have only been $300, but at the same time, it was important to that partner, and it was important that I made sure that they got the benefit as per the program. So if you've got people that are actually, if you've got resources that are undertaking net new certs, you know, you do get the benefit of the platform credit. So as I mentioned, there's the discounted training, and again, it's just, we can work in collaboration with Westcon. We can have a look to make sure, you know, what course you're looking at, eligibility criteria, and, you know, just to see what's available. And one of the things I do want to call out is that the stronger we can come out of the gate in 2022, rather than finding that all of a sudden we've lost Q1, or depending on the financial year, but, you know, it's when we suddenly find that we're in March or April and we're starting to have conversations about training. We should be having conversations now about how strongly we want to start 2022. With the funding program, you can go onto the partner portal, and there is an actual specific tab for funding. And then what we encourage is our partners to go look at explore the partner portal, Partner Central. And then if you've got questions, whether it be directly through Westcon or Simon could come to me, or even David, if you find something that you're interested in, please let us know. Now, eligible courses. So these are the courses that through the discounted, training, if a partner is eligible, I'm not going to call out all of them, but you can see they're architecting on AWS or advanced architecting, big data on AWS. And where the discounted training really comes into its own is if you're focusing on the associate, pro, or specialty, and that's where you really get the value from the from the training, from the discounted training. And I've already I mentioned earlier about the credits. So please, if you've got resources that are actually doing the net new certs, you will get for the associate level $300 platform credit, and for pro and specialty it's $500. And the way that this works is that it's issued at the end of each quarter. So the nominated alliance lead will actually receive the credit code, and then you can use that code to actually apply that credit accordingly against your AWS platform bill. With our vouchers, I just want to call out that if you've got resources that are undertaking exams, there are options in terms of bulk buying vouchers, and we've got what we call we've got two programs that cater towards the partners that have 100 or more resources, or 100 under 100. So if you have more than 100 resources in your organization, then one program will allow you to buy a minimum of 50 vouchers and below the 50, you can buy them. You buy one, and we actually will give you one. But if you want a little bit more information around the vouchers, please let us know. Also keep in mind that there are different programs, and I'll call out, for example, the Solutions Architect Associate Challenge that's in progress at the moment, where if your resources sign up to that, you'll get 50% off a discount off the exam voucher. So there's always different programs in play, but if you've got any queries around what exam vouchers you're looking to buy and how best to acquire them, just let Simon know, and we can actually make sure you get the right information. Okay, what's new for partners? What I just want to call out is that we're constantly refreshing and updating our course content. So Cloud Practitioner Essentials is an awesome example where it was released in February of this year. And of all the online training that I have done over my decades of training, hands down, I think it's awesome the way that the way that they deliver that course content. They use the analogy of a coffee shop. It's really, really refreshed, and I like it. And so we're constantly, there's all different content, and we'll constantly keep working with Westcon to make sure that you're aware of any course updates. But yeah, it's just the fact that, we're always either refreshing or introducing new training. Now, accreditations. There are 3 primary accreditations that our partners can achieve. That's for accreditation business, accreditation technical, and cloud economics. And we've this year announced that through Credly, you can actually publish these new digital badges. So if you complete the accreditation, you actually get awarded the digital badge. If you have a Credly account, you can nominate to automatically push that out, for example, to LinkedIn, and it really demonstrates to your customers, whether they be existing customers or prospective customers in the marketplace, they will see that you're actually building that cloud and achieving that cloud fluency with AWS. And we've had a huge positive response to just the fact that it's automated, it's simple, and people don't have to cut and paste and do their own thing and put a badge on, something on LinkedIn to say, hey, look at what I've accomplished. It's more automated, and they really like the fact that it's a very seamless process. Okay, Simon, I've got this slide up here because it really focuses on the part of the call to action for today. And feel free to jump in, but I just want to highlight that there will be an invite going out for a class on the 23rd of November, which will focus on cloud practitioner essentials. This is an all-day. This will be an all-day event, instructor-led virtually by one of our senior instructors, and it will start at 10 a.m. New Zealand, just to account for the time zone difference. And that's the class that one of the first events that we're going to be hosting, through Westcon for the partners, and it'll be a great event. And you'll get I can share a copy of this presentation, but what the opportunity is prior to the 23rd is you can leverage either the digital version or the public classroom schedule, if that's your preference, to do accreditation business or accreditation technical. However, some people may want to do both. We're not saying that you can it can only be one or the other. I've actually got a lot of people that are on a business track, but they do accreditation technical because it just gives them some confidence around some of the basic technical areas of AWS. And likewise, someone that's on a technical track equally benefits from understanding the business value proposition. That's why we do recognize that some people have different roles, and that's why we structure it that way. But there's certainly no, it's not a case of, well, you can only do one. It's entirely up to you. I have called out that foundations business and foundations technical, some do view those as optional. They are complementary learning, and they do build on what the other courses actually provide, and you're most welcome to attend them. Then we've got the cloud economics. Again, there's a digital or a classroom version of that. I do often get a question from people about, why does a digital course take 3.5 hours and the classroom is 1 day? You have to factor in the delivery from the instructor. You often get a lot of interaction, Q&A, so the starts, stops, we allow for breaks. Whereas with the digital modality, people can often they'll go through at their own pace. So that's really the main, the main difference of the two. And then that will lead us up to, and you can actually see here on this slide, there's a great opportunity for the partners to achieve their three badges. A business accredited, technical accredited, and cloud economics. You might achieve all 3 or 2 of the 3. And then we'll run the cloud practitioner essentials on the 23rd. And this is where we're also encouraging the partners to really pursue the certified cloud practitioner exam. Simon, did you have anything you wanted to add just on that call to action?
No, look, that's great. And we'll be getting out some communications around this, but I'm really excited to have you doing that on the 23rd.
Wonderful. Yeah. And just in terms of getting, being ready to get started, obviously logging into the AWS Partner Central. And if you've got a valid domain, I do want to just call out, and this is something that a lot of partners have resources where they're not aware. You can set up a training certification account on the AWS portal, and that is off. Anyone can do that. You don't need to be a partner to have a training certification account, because often people set that up with a Gmail, Hotmail, or something. It's when you sign into the Partner Central. If you haven't done that before and you're setting up an account, you do need to have a recognized domain, i.e. you've got to be at least a registered partner to be able to create an AWS Partner Central account. And we often get, and the reason why I call that out is because when you set up a Partner Central credential, you should encourage your resources to make sure that they're sharing the certs that they hold. They are not shared by default. They actually have, because the cert is held with the individual, they've got to go into their Partner Central credential and say, I want to share my certs, because sometimes the partner will look at their partner dashboard and go, well, I know I've got 5 people that have completed that training, and this is particularly important when you're trying to progress up the tiers. So from registered to select, one of the requirements is having X number of accredited business and accredited technical resources. We see partners going and going, but I know someone's actually done the training. Why am I not seeing it? It's because they haven't actually shared. And Simon, if there's an interest in doing a walkthrough of those types of activities, I'd be happy to make myself available to support the partners. But that's what I wanted to walk through today. I'm available at any time for the partner community if you need any help. If you go through Simon and the team, that's awesome. And, just let me know what help you need.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Peter. That was awesome.
And I'm just going to stop sharing here.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, thank you. That was great. Look, just a quick question there, just covering off a little bit more. This came up in one of the questions. The main difference between accreditation and certification.
Yeah, so accreditations are unique to partners, and it's more that, and whereas a certification, anyone in the public domain can go sign up and actually take a certification exam, either assuming that they've taken the relevant training or have the relevant experience. Certs are in the public domain. Accreditations are wholly unique to our partners, and they're tied to the training that we actually provide.
Awesome. Last question. How many can attend from a partner? Like, I'm assuming you wouldn't be restricting partners.
No, not at all. The only thing that we do find is that if we want to run a partner cast event, a private partner cast, or let's call it a semi-private, let's say Westcon want to put on a partner cast event for a particular topic for the partner community, that generally requires that we achieve at least sort of 30, 40 sort of people to warrant a partner cast event. And that's why we do make sure that we encourage people to take a look at the public partner cast schedule, because often that's the easier option, because then you're not worried about how many people are available to attend. But in terms of the partner training, no, there is no limit. So you can have as many as you want to either attend the digital, take advantage of the digital training, or the partner classroom. And again, what we're running on the 23rd of November for a CPE, we call that a semi-private, where that invite is specifically going from Westcon out to the partner community. And we'll need at least 20 participants to run that. But yeah, there's definitely no restrictions on how many people, how many resources attend the training.
Awesome, thank you. I think we're pretty much there. Look, guys, I did do a bad thing. I probably, before we went into Peter's training section, I probably should have allowed us to have a break, and so I'm apologising to you first of all for that. But as I say, we've actually finished early, so I think we're going to call it. Big key takeaways for today is, please engage Westcon on your journey. We're here to help make sure you get the relevant information and the value that's important to you. And so we really want to be on that journey with you. Maximize those incentives. There are actually some really great incentives out there. We want to make sure that you're taking advantage of them. We need you to get onto ACE, and we need to help you with that, and we're more than happy to do so, because we need to get that filtering through so that you can absolutely take advantage of all of those. Make sure you get certified, like Peter has been talking to, and just take that market share. You know, you want to see 23% of your revenue coming from AWS. You want the huge amounts of growth. You want to actually reflect what's going on there out in the world. Anyway, let me know what you need. My contact details are there. And we also have the fabulous Partner Success Centre if you have any questions. I will be giving you a pack, so we'll be following up with you there. And thank you very much for attending. I really appreciate your time.